In this video, we're going to talk about logic. Now, there's many aspects of logic. There are whole courses devoted to logic. We're just going to do one small slice of it. We're going to talk about conditional statements. So a conditional statement just means an if-then statement. It's a statement that has an if part and then a then part. Examples would be, if it rains, then the ground will be wet. If it snows, then class is canceled. If a number has at least three factors, then it isn't prime. Right? Now, a couple words about this. One thing is the word then in English sometimes can be omitted, and it's not a big deal. It has the same meaning. So we could say, if it rains, the ground will be wet. You can skip the then part, but we still would call the ground will be wet the then part of the conditional statement, even if the word then isn't there. Now the word if should be there, or something like it. So that part should be there for the if part. The other thing is, in English, we can swap the then part and the if part. So we could say, the ground will be wet if it rains. Right? And that's the same sentence. We could say class will be canceled if it snows. Right? It's the same sentence. We just wrote it in a slightly different order, but the if part would still be that it snows, and the then part would still be that class is canceled. We just did the then part first. That is all completely fine. Okay. Conditionals are either true or false. Any statement is either true or false. What would make a conditional true or false? Well, the only way a conditional can be false is if the following two things hold. The if part is true and the then part is false. So if we take if it snows, then class is canceled. Let me rewrite that here. If it snows, then class is canceled. So let's suppose that it did snow, so that it snows part is true. But then class is canceled. Class is not canceled. That part is false. Suppose it did snow, but class was not canceled. Well, then the sentence, if it snows, then class is canceled, turns out to have been wrong, right? It was a lie, or it was just not correct, right? So if the if part is true and the then part is false, then overall, the if-then whole sentence taken as a whole is false. Okay? That's the only way that an if-then can be false. If it does snow and class is canceled, so if both parts are true, then of course this sentence was correct. What's interesting also, though, is if it doesn't snow, let's say the if part is false, well, then it kind of doesn't matter. This could be true or false, but it's like this sentence sort of didn't apply, right? So if somebody says, if it snows, then class is canceled, and then it ends up not snowing, well, you can't say they were wrong. You can't say they lied or anything like that, right? So this sentence is still fine. So this sentence the overall sentence would be true if the if part didn't happen, is false. The overall sentence would be true. Okay, so that one's a little bit weird because it's almost like the sentence didn't apply, but we kind of give it the benefit of the doubt and we say that the sentence therefore was true, simply because it wasn't proven to be false. So you see, again, the only way that an if-then statement can be false overall is if the if part does happen, but then the then part doesn't. That's the only way that a conditional can be false.